lower than my fear of divorce. So, as you had said, Dr. Bryant, you said it, I didn't say it, I will agree. I'm just taking my time.
You're not taking your time.
I am, though.
You're being very action-based. You're not taking your time. You're being very action-based.
I'm taking my time.
You're being very action-based. You have 8 kids with 3 different women.
Yes.
You are creating, procreating, and multiplying. That is not taking your time. You're being very selectively active. Okay?
Hey guys, welcome to Little Black Bert 91. Listen, we're giving you guys a video talking to you guys about Cam Newton's situation. Yes, we are breaking down the Dr. Bryant and Cam Newton interview part 2. I'm going to focus on a particular topic here. I want to focus on this part, right? Talking about obviously the fear of marriage. For a lot of men, they fear marriage. And I'm going to make the statement, men don't fear marriage. They fear their inadequacy and their inability to choose correctly the type of woman that they should be with. Let me say that again. Men don't fear marriage because marriage isn't an issue. What you fear is your inadequacy in choosing the right type of woman to be with. Okay? All right. When Jeff Bezos divorced the wife, okay, he was not sad, bro. He didn't mind he had to give half the money he had to give to her. You know why? Because she helped him build a company. You know why he wasn't vexed? Because he can make more money. Right? So men who are afraid of marriage are not really afraid of marriage. They are afraid of their inadequacy to discern and judge and choose the right type of woman. That is where your fear actually lies. Now, of course, you can talk about divorce and we can talk about the figures, how many people actually end up divorcing. Can I say something? I went to research something. I went to look how many people make it into the NFL from NCAA or from college. You want to call it college football, right? And I looked at the percentage. It was 7.3% of men who make it into the NFL from the NCAA. Now, I'm sure the figures are even lower for other areas of where other players come from to make it into the NFL. But that tells me there is a 92.7% failure rate when it comes to you joining the NFL. Can I say that again? There is a 92.7% that you are going to fail and you're not going to make it into the NFL. So what does that tell us? The rate of you failing to reach this land of promise, to become this football star that you wanted to become, is so high. Yet there are so many men, black men specifically, who are striving to try and make it to the NFL. It's a long shot. Right? There are so many men killing themselves to try and make it there. Yet the pass rate, the failure rate is 92.7%. Now, of course, I'm comparing our apples to oranges because, of course, you getting into the NCAA, it's not going to necessarily break your heart. It's not necessarily going to take half your finances, but it will take a lot of your time and it will take a lot of your energy, right? And it will break your. And in fact, there's a breaking of your heart in terms of your dreams. There are many men who have shattered dreams who thought they were going to make it into the NFL and change their whole entire life, and it hasn't happened. So what am I actually saying to you? What I'm really talking to you about is letting you guys know that the percentage of people making it is not the reason why you're not getting married, right? And in fact, the way we tell the percentage also frustrates me. We always say 50% of people divorce. No, it should be 50% of people actually make it through. 50% of people are still married. We always choose a negative when it comes to marriage because you are afraid, not necessarily of the marriage, but of your inadequacy to be able to choose and discern the right type of person to be with. That's my opening statement. Now, I'm sure a lot of people might agree or disagree. And if you do agree, disagree, let me know your comments down below in the comment section. We're going to break down more of this video for you guys in the next few moments as well. So again, like, share, subscribe. Click on that fabulous bell button for notifications of the uploads. Let's continue this conversation and go a little bit deeper.
So you're creating, in disclaimer, the kids are innocent. They are beautiful and amazing. Anything I say has nothing to do with them babies because I can't wait to be a mom and I love the kids, period. But you are proactively choosing where you want to be active at and where you want to take your time. You want to take your time in having a wife because of your own fears. But
now let's pause it right here. First and foremost, the reason why he's saying that he's taking his time to get married, okay, is the reality of the situation is this. There's something that happens in marriage that you often have to start doing that you don't necessarily do as much, quote unquote, in a normal relationship. And I think it's this. mutual submission. Mutual submission and mutual destruction. Can I say it again? Mutual submission and mutual destruction. What it means is this. I worked in banking for a few years, right? And couples will come in and they would open a joint account. In the joint account, it meant that both people were signatures on the account and both people were responsible for the outcome of that account. I had a few instances where men or women would come into the bank and say, I can see that the account is an overdraft. And the other person has come and taken all the money out the account, and not just all the money, they've taken it to a point where actually the account is in overdraft and somebody's got to pay it back. Guess what? Both of them are now mutually responsible for the account and the way it looks. Yet it would always be one person, more than likely, who would come in, who cared a bit more, who would have to come in and pay off the rest of the overdraft, even if they didn't want to. What am I talking about? When you get married, there is mutual destruction as well as their mutual victory. If this marriage fails, we both lose. See, when you are in a relationship, there's always the back door that you can exit out of. You can always go out the back door and you can say, you go your way, I go my way. We don't combine our assets. Two don't become one. We don't have mutual destruction in some sense, because in reality, you can live your life as a single individual after this. I can live mine. But when you're married, you combine and you bring things together and you come like this, right? And so what people are really afraid of is the fact that there's actually more power, especially for women in a marriage. Because now what's going to happen is, yes, of course we can get divorced. Of course you can remove her if you wanted to. Yes. But the reality of the situation is it's not just an emotional coming together. There's usually a financial coming together, right? And this is where the fear comes, because it's like, if I've built up all these assets, right, she now has access to all these assets and she can literally take me for all it is. But can we just talk about the fact that, why are you thinking that way? Why are you thinking that she can come in, get with you, and then divorce you and take all your assets? Well, number one, let's be very honest. Truthfully be told, there are women who are like that, right? There are women who literally will look at Cam Newton like a paycheck, right? Just like there are men who will look at women as a baby-making machine. Oh. The very woman that you're afraid of, you are. The very woman, let me say it again, the very woman who you are afraid of, you are. Because the woman that you're afraid of is the one that's going to come and maybe date you for a few years, and maybe she is genuine, all right? But actually she hasn't healed parts of herself. And actually, she's actually going to probably end up leaving you in a few years' time. And you're afraid of that woman because you are that woman. You are afraid of that woman because you are that woman. What do I mean by this? If you were sound, whole, healed, or healing, right, to a certain degree, you're going to choose somebody who also reflects that particular state, characteristics, morality, decision-making skills. You're going to choose somebody of equal footing to you. When you are not healed, when you think in a broken way, when you think in ways that are toxic and not healthy, you tend to choose people that mirror that particular behavior, right? So if you're afraid of that woman that's going to come in, take all your money and bounce, it's because you don't have anything else to offer except that. Because what you're qualifying her with should be what you yourself know as qualitative or qualitative attributes that you have that you're looking for in the other woman. Does she carry it? We talk about women to choose better. I need Cam Newton to choose better, right? And stop the narrative of women are coming in and they're going to take all my money and leave me. Well, then you need to choose better. Why is it we get to call out women about choosing Pookie and Ray Rays, and then we leave Cam Newton to be I don't want to get married because, I'm afraid a woman will take half. No, you need to choose better, right? Why is it that we're able to qualify that women should choose better when they choose men to impregnate them who are no good Pookie Ray Rays, no good fathers, who are not gonna take care of them? Why is it we can easily qualify these women and say to them they need to choose better? And I agree, they need to choose better. But then I need to look at Cam Newton right now and look at him and say, you've been afraid of marriage. It's telling me you need to choose better. And the reason why you can't choose better is because you aren't better. So you're actually not afraid of marriage. You're afraid of yourself. When what marriage does is it points a mirror right in front of you and tells you, look at you, because you're the problem. Right? When we look at the story of Adam and Eve, we can easily point out Eve and what she did wrong. Oh, we can all do it. We sit there and we'll point it out. Adam and Eve, we can point out very, very clearly. Eve should not have been talking to the snake. Eve should not have been congregating, talking, having conversations, mingling, discoursing, and talking to the snake. I agree. I'm with you. Yeah, Eve is a problem. But can we talk about the fact that there was Adam also right next to her? Did you read the scripture properly? Read Genesis 3 again. Adam wasn't somewhere else. Adam wasn't somewhere else. Adam was not in a faraway tree like Tarzan swinging from them, just seeing what she was doing. Adam was right next to her. So why didn't Adam say, Eve, stop talking to the snake? Why is it that Adam standing right next to Eve, seeing a snake, an animal, talk to Eve and think to himself, hold on a minute. There's a snake here talking to my gal. This is my bone, my flesh, my flesh. Why am I not saying to Eve, allow it. Let's leave the snake alone. Like, we don't need to have conversations with a snake. Why is it that Adam didn't say anything? Why is it that when it came to later on and God came, who did he come to? He said, where are you, Adam? Why is it that when he asked Adam, Adam's first response was, hey, you know what? It's the woman you gave me. Why is it that he shifted the blame onto the woman when he was standing right there next to her? So even when the girl is perfect, Adam is still choosing to not be accountable. So what am I saying? I'm saying that, see what happened with Adam and Eve is what happens in marriage a lot of times. Mutual victory, but mutual destruction. Because in the end, Adam ended up going out the garden alongside Eve. Mutual victory, mutual destruction. That is what happens in marriage. So when I'm choosing to marry you, what I'm really saying is mutual victory, mutual destruction. And a lot of men are not comfortable with the mutual destruction. You're happy with the victory, you're not happy with the destruction. Here's why. Because you are not confident in your choice. This week I've been talking to my clients. If you know, I've been coaching. If you've been in my coaching, shout out to you as well. We've been coaching a lot of clients this week. And what I spoke about was confidence, right? And that why is it that there are certain things that you're doing, you are so confident, it doesn't matter what they do, that you end up, it doesn't matter what happens in that environment, in that situation, you know how to handle things, right? You know the correct course of action. Do you know the reason why Cam is afraid of marriage is because of an emotion? We talk about men being logical beings. Cam might come out and say, you know, he's high functioning and he's high value and he's a logical man. And I would happily disagree that a lot of men are not logical. And I'll tell you why you're not logical. Because nobody is free from making decisions based on emotions. So you can talk about how men make more logical decisions, but the fact that you're afraid of marriage tells me it's not a logical decision. Let me tell you why it's not logical. Because you made a decision based not on logic. You based it on fear. No. Look. We based it on fear. You may say you got all the statistics and saw that 50% of marriages end, but there are 50% of marriages that go well. How many men become a millionaire? How many men are chasing to be a millionaire? How many men make over 100K? But how many men are trying to make over 100K? How many people make it to the NFL or the NBA? And how many men are actually who make it to NBA? The reality of the situation is, right, we don't care about the odds because the payoff is what we're looking for. Which means we are no longer, what we're actually really saying is this: we're not afraid of marriage. We're afraid of the fact that the payoff isn't enough for us to take the risk. And relationships are a risk. And here's a way to mitigate risk. We mitigate risks when we begin to learn about that very thing we're entering. Who just starts trading without going in to do some knowledge? Who just goes into trading? No. Can we actually deep this? How many of you people are just jumping into trading without having to read the books, study, talk to somebody who's in trading, and learn the knowledge so that you can actually make correct choices in trading? Because you can lose a hell of a lot of money in trading, right? But we ain't afraid of that, right? We're not afraid of that. Why? Because what's ended up happening is people study and they learn so that they can, when the moment arises, you see, the Bible makes a great experience. Ephesians 6, verse 12, right? It's a powerful scripture because what it really actually talks about is about being prepared for the day that something's going to come your way. It's going to happen. There's a day that's coming. So God, it says, put on the armor of God. Why? Because a day is coming, and it's guaranteed a day is coming where you are going to be a little bit some way. Right? Okay. So let me okay, Ephesians 6. It says this, Ephesians 6, verse 10 says, finally, be strong in the Lord and in the strength of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the schemes of the devil. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the cosmic powers, and over present darkness, against the spiritual force of evil and wicked heavenly places. Right? Okay. Therefore, take on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand firm. I love that scripture, Ephesians 6, because I think it highlights something so beautiful, right? It tells us in Ephesians 6, verse 13, therefore, take on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day. The day is coming. It's going to be evil. There's a day that's going to come in your marriage. There's a day that's going to come in your marriage that you're going to look at each other and look at each other like an enemy. Right? We all hear the stories. So it's going to happen. There's going to be a day where you're going to be in a marriage and you're going to wake up and you're going to think to yourself, what am I doing? There's going to be a day you're going to wake up in a marriage and it's going to be no emotions, and you have to make a choice based on the commitment you actually made. The devil's going to come and visit you one day. And the question is, will you do what Adam and Eve did, or will you do what the second Adam did? Ooh, I don't want to preach, but let me preach. You know what I'm saying to you? I don't want to preach, but let me preach to you. The question is, that evil day is coming. Right? There's a day that Satan is coming to visit you at your door. The question is, will you do what Adam and Eve did, the first Adam, or will you do what the second Adam did? Let me tell you what the difference is. The first Adam stood by while Eve was talking to the snake and allowed the snake to begin to commingle with the snake and get ideas in her head to make her then begin to cause discord within her own union, because when she ate the fruit from the tree and he ate the fruit from the tree, they both realized they were naked, and it caused a discord of a breakage in the union between God and man. Broke the marriage. But what we see in the second Adam is that in Matthew and in Luke 4, we see that Jesus is approached by Satan in the wilderness. And Satan says, listen, bow before me. I'll give you everything. And Jesus says, listen, hey, we only worship the Lord thy God, right? Satan says, no, turn the stone into bread. And Jesus said, listen, we don't test the Lord thy God. He said, okay, well, you know what? I always got the third one. I think he took him to the mountain and he showed him everything. Just bow before me and you'll have it all, right? And Jesus says, listen, I'm not doing that. It's between, I'm serving the Lord my God, my Father in heaven, right? And I'm paraphrasing. What I'm trying to allude to is this: when Satan came to the door of Jesus, okay, when he came knocking, right, what did he find? He found Jesus standing firm in the day of evil. Marriage is just like what happens with Adam first and Adam second. You are going to experience days the wind is going to blow. You're going to experience days where you're walking across the water like Peter, and before you know it, you're starting to sink. But what happens in the story of Peter when he's walking across the water? Right? It gets to a point, the wind is buffering, and as Peter sinks, Jesus pulls him up. So what am I saying? That the Bible says that a marriage is not just you and your partner, it's you, your partner, and God. Because there are moments and times where you need to elicit God's help, if not all the time, to be able to be pulled up when you're beginning to sink, because naturally it's going to happen as human beings. So Ephesians 6 verse 13, therefore put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand the evil day, having done all to stand firm. Now what's actually really happening is people are trying to avoid that evil day. Oh yeah, Cam Newton, Nick Cannon, and the rest of the Red Pill community, whoever doesn't want to get married, they are all running from that evil day. Guess what? You're going to have to face it. It is a day that's coming. You're going to have to face it. What marriage does is it puts you in that place of facing the evil and say, okay, you said you love each other. Let's see. How much y'all love each other? Let's see. You made a commitment. Let's see how true you are to that commitment. You said you're gonna be together. Let's see how together you guys are going to be. I'm going to test that. Let's test that that strength that you guys said that you have as a unified team, right? It's what James 1 talks about, right? All right, James 1 talks about this, okay? Let me read James 1 real quick. Okay, it says, count it all joy, brethren, right? When you meet trials of various kinds, for you know that the testing of your faith produces a steadfastness, and let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect, complete, lacking in nothing. And if any of you lacks wisdom, this is a really key point. If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask God, who gives generously to all without reproach, and it'll be given to him. Now, why am I focusing on James 1? Because number one, it tells us that the testing, okay, is important for us. Okay, it helps us with endurance. It helps us with our patience. It helps us with growing in love. And then it says, if you lack wisdom, which most of us do, we should be asking for it. So what am I going to go back to? Let's go back to the video, and we're going to talk a bit more.
You will, and I say this with all respect and love, what I'm about to say next, okay, Cam? But you will selfishly create broken families, even if you're in their life and you're a proactive father, and I believe you're an amazing daddy. I can only imagine with just your presence and knowing you thus far. But these families are still broken. Every child cannot have Papa in the house with them. So some child, if not all will end up with some kind of deficit without daddy being there. Now, you chose to do that. I'm not saying you sat there and woke up one morning and said, I want to be selfish today, so I'm going to go make a baby. Not saying that at all. But those are selfish acts at the expense of your.
Now, the reality of the situation is those selfish acts came because of fear. And this is why I said that men that scream they're logical are not logical. If you're screaming logic, you're not logical. Can I say that truthfully? Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. Anytime I hear a man scream, I'm logical, I look at them and I say, you're not logical. Anytime you have to scream that you are something, I don't have to scream I'm a Christian. You should know it. The Bible says, work out your salvation with fear and trembling. Meaning, if you have muscles, do I need to do... I mean, I don't need to get naked for you to not have muscles. I simply, if I wear a certain top or wear certain tops, you're going to see I have a physique about me. Now, you might not see all the muscles, but you're going to see it, right? You work it out so it can be shown. I don't need to say I'm wise. You can say I'm wise because you hear what I say, and if it makes sense and it's wise, you'll tell me I'm wise. If I'm logical, and I'm very logical, when I say it, you will tell me I'm logical. Here's the reality of the situation is most men that scream they're logical are not logical. They are actually, okay, they are actually emotional. There is not a human being on earth who doesn't make decisions based on emotions. There ain't no such thing. So we make decisions based on emotions. And so what Cam is actually doing right now is acting very emotional. Very emotional. And men who follow his route are also very emotional. They're going to scream to the hells about, nah, I'm not an emotional man. It's women that are emotional. No, you are emotional and you have poor regulation of your emotions. Because you deny that you have emotions, this is why we're seeing the trash behavior that you're actually eliciting. Because it's low functional behavior. Right? You impregnating 3 women and having 8 kids. If this was a woman, we would call this low vibrational. And we'll be looking at her saying, what kind of nonsense is she doing? Right? We have to look at Cam. I don't care how much money you have. It is low vibrational, low functional. Okay. And it's an act born out of fear. Like I said, you cannot use the dispensation of the Bible. You cannot use that. You cannot use the dispensation of the Bible because people were in war. Okay, we don't have the same thing here. Okay, all right. You weren't in war. You're not in war, and you're not going to be in war more than likely. So you don't have an excuse of having multiple mothers, multiple wives, and multiple children. Okay, all right. So we're not gonna make that comparison again. Right. So let's play a little bit more and listen again.
Fear. So at what point do you feel the fear? Do it anyways. And yeah, that is a low functioning behavior to say that I am going to create these homes. Oh, let me go better. I'm going to build these houses and put kids and these beautiful women and kids in them, but I ain't going to create a home in them. I'm going to wait till I dissipate my fear to find a wife where I'm still going to be fearful with, because there's no such thing as not having some type of nerve or some type of feeling behind marrying somebody who you're spending your life with. And then I'm going to build a home with her while all these other beautiful babies have houses. That's completely unfair and it's selfish.
Just tell me when I can talk.
Yeah, almost.
Now let's pause it here. He was mad triggered at this point. Let's be honest. He was mad triggered. He was very, very much mad triggered, right? Because the moment he had to say, just tell me when I can talk, it told me he was triggered. Because there's actually no reason. There was no need for it. Listen, for 2.5 hours of this interview, you got called out maybe once or twice. Okay? All right? It wasn't a continual calling out. But the fact that she called you out, and it was so eloquent, it wasn't even rude, it wasn't even disrespectful. She was challenging your thought process as to what it was. And rather than him actually responding and saying, actually, I hear what you're saying, but I'm going to disagree. My thought process is this. And they could have had a conversation about it. The reason why it's touching base is because there is truth to what she's saying, and he cannot take it on board. See, the reason why the gospel becomes offensive to people is because the truth is offensive to people. And the truth requires you to change. Look, can I be honest with you? I'm not going to lie to you. Look, when I was in Egypt only 8 months ago, I will never lie. Y'all know I was low functioning. Okay, I was very low functioning. That was only 8 months ago. I'm not gonna pretend. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was in the streets, and I was really in the streets. You know what I'm saying to you? I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna pretend and act like I'm holy art thou. Okay, all right. I was in the streets, and my behavior was very low functioning because all I cared about was getting my rock off. I didn't care about anything else. I just wanted to conquer as many women sexually and enjoy myself that way. Now, why was it low functioning behavior? Well, first and foremost, because I never thought about the longevity, and I also didn't care about what happened to you. If you fell in love with me, I already told you from the jump, I'm not about that life. I didn't care about your heart in that way. That does not mean to say I didn't have conversation. That doesn't mean I didn't have to lie. I didn't have to do a Nick Cannon. I don't have to manipulate you. I don't have to do any of this stuff. But I didn't want to think about your longevity. It doesn't bother me. That's because all I concerned about was me. See, low functioning behavior focuses itself solely on you and never the impact of your behavior on anybody else. It doesn't function on anybody else. It doesn't take anybody else into consideration. It only talks about you. This is why fear is a problem, and hence why God says that there is no love. There's no perfect love in fear. Right? Because the Bible hasn't given us a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind. This is why we see Joshua 1, and God says to Joshua, be of good courage. He says, Jeremiah, don't worry about their faces, be of courage. Right? And so you hear God say this several times: be of courage, be of courage, be of courage, be of courage. Courage is not the absence of the fear. It's an ability to not relinquish oneself to the actions of fear. You are going to feel fear. It's natural. It's not like you're not going to feel fear. What I'm not going to do is be seduced by fear or succumbed by fear to now act in fear. And many of us do. We have parts of our life that we are still trying to work out. Of course, it's a growth thing over time. And the reality of the situation is a lot of us are seduced by fear. And so our behaviors have been wrapped around that fear, and we called it, it's me. Right? Many of us have wrapped our behaviors around fear and gone, it's me. That's me. Yeah. No, I'm not afraid. It's just me. Right? In reality, he called himself fearful. And so his behavior now is showing us the extent of fearful behavior. It's selfish. It's self-serving. It's self-soothing. It's not beneficial for the community. It's not beneficial for those women. Now, do those women who slept with him have to take accountability? Absolutely. Are you getting pregnant for this man and he hasn't proven that he wants to marry you? Of course. Of course. I'm not gonna say people don't have to be accountable. They do. Right? And they have their own reasons as to why they want to sleep with him. Sure. But we're talking about Cam. And he made emotional decisions. And because he doesn't know how to regulate his emotions very well, this is the result of what's happening. See me, when I was in Egypt, because I wasn't regulating my pain and the way I had to deal with certain wounds that I was carrying, I moved in a very emotional way. It looked cold. It looked like I didn't care, but I actually was moving in an emotional way because what I was really trying to do was find my joy in sex and women. Let's be honest. You were still looking for that feeling. You were looking for your joy, which is an emotion. You were looking for it through conquering women. Let me continue.
That's completely unfair and that's selfish. And so, yes, you're taking your time in this department, but you're not taking your time in this department, which means you're compartmentalizing. And compartmentalizing never works. Compartmentalizing hurts everybody involved. Everybody who's in this box and that box and this box and that box and this box. And then here you go over here trying to figure out what box you're going to feed or entertain or do. Then you're looking outside to figure out who's your next victim to put in the box. Mm-hmm. It's unhealthy. And it's a huge dysfunction within our Black community that I truly believe personally, statistically, mental.
Now let's talk about this actual as well, because this is really important. I remember a couple of years ago, this is when I was probably like my early 20s. You know, when you get excited, when you come to the faith, you get excited, you get born again, you become Christian. The next thing you're doing is looking for your wife, right? You're looking for your Eve. And I remember some time ago, at that time, we're doing, or just kind of talking about relationships a lot of times and looking for that wife, right? And there was several women on the books, okay? And what I realized is having several women on the books does not work in most cases. Am I saying that you can't date most people? No. I'm saying that having multiple people on the books usually doesn't yield the results that you think it's going to yield. What does that mean? I mean that once you have so many options, what it tends to do is cause you analysis by paralysis by analysis. You tend to over analyze situations, because what's happening is you are benefiting from the fact that you're not giving yourself all to people. So you have to really understand that when you had multiple people, you spread yourself thin because you were able to retrieve all that you wanted out of every individual person without giving all of yourself to them. It's never going to work long term, right? Because a relationship is about giving your all to that particular one person. And you're going to have to realize that you can't get everything out of that one person because they're only one person. And so what ends up happening, the fear of people not getting their needs and their wants met through that one person will lead them to try and have multiple people that they're trying to withdraw it from. And all it does is it puts you in a place of having a pick and mix. And the reality of the situation is life is not a pick and mix. You can't just do pick and choose. You have to choose. And once you've chosen it, you go down that path. It's not a hop and scotch down there. I'm gonna come back, hop scotch down here, come back, hop and scotch down here, come back. And that's essentially what he's actually built. What he's built is a safety net. Let's talk about it. Let's really talk about it. What he has built out of fear is a safety net. Right? He's built himself a safety net because what he's doing is that now he's got several women, right? And we know how it's gonna work. He's Cam Newton, he has status, he has power, he has wealth. He is like a god to those women. Yeah, let's really talk about it. Let's put the dark arts of it all. Let's really talk about the dark arts of this situation. Okay, all right. Let's talk about the dark arts of the situation. Okay, he's got 3 baby mothers, 8 children. These 3 women are gonna always be connected to him, no matter what. But remember, we have to also understand that Cam Newton, all right, is a high status individual person, right? Now, he's going to be high status to all the women that he's also dating, meaning there's going to be a level of power that he's going to hold a lot of times over those women. If those women are not developing their emotional intelligence, they're not learning their self-worth, they're not growing in their understanding of themselves, right? They will leave themselves open all the time for Cam Newton to always come in and go out. And what that means is this: there will always be a flame of what if? What if? Or there'll always be a breadcrumbing situation where I'll take a little bit of crumbs from him. I don't mind. Right? I'll take a little bit of crumbs from him. I don't mind. I don't need all of him. And that shows again what she was saying, which is that the women that you're going after more than likely are low functioning, because if they really begin to function on a higher frequency and a higher level and a higher esteem of themselves and worth of themselves, and have a level of emotional intelligence and a level of understanding of what their worth is and needs and wants are, they'll be like, yeah, okay, you're the father of my kids, but you know what? I deserve better than this, and I want more than this. That door will be shut. When that door shuts, I'm going to tell you, you might see a different Cam Newton. See, for now, Cam Newton has a lot of power. I'm sure he has a lot of power with a lot of these women, right? A lot, right? And so it's a safety net because he knows he has that power over those women. If we're really talking about real human interactions, don't feel that people don't realize that they have power over you or you have power over them. People feel it, right? Now, a lot of people might not say that openly because maybe they're not as aware. I understand. But you know, and I know that people know who has power over who in what relationships, right? Especially romantic ones. You know when it's mutual, and if it's mutual, then it's a good place. But a lot of times it's not mutual. a lot of times somebody has the power over somebody else. And because of that, it becomes a safety net for them. So Cam Newton knows the power he has over these 3 women. I'll tell you that now for sure. In his head, he knows. He knows he can move them like chess pieces across the board. And so long as he can move them across the chess piece across the board, he's got safety. Because if anything happens to him, I can always go back and I can settle here, here, or here. And so the work that needs to be done will not be done until he removes the safety net, or the women decide they're no longer going to be a safety net for him. Nick Cannon's the same way. He's building safety nets, right? He's built how many baby mamas? What, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 baby mamas? He's built safety nets. He's built places where that if anything falls down for him, he can always go there and settle. They can take care of me emotionally, physically, you know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about finances. I'm talking about emotional and physical. The stuff that I've not worked out in myself, I can go back to my incubators, right? And so a lot of times we don't deal with the actual inner us, the inner child that's in us working. Let me go back to our video because I'm talking a lot. So
health-wise and community-wise, that Black men would stop.
Black men would what?
Stop doing that. That they would stop that dysfunctional behavior of compartmentalizing and creating houses, not homes, and then finally a home with a wife. And then you have all these other houses that are homeless. But you over here, at some point when you do get a wife, if you do, I'm saying if that's what you want, you will. You get whatever you want. You're trying to create a home. Totally dysfunctional and extremely, that's the epitome of selfish. Epitome of selfish. I'm done. You can go first.
Okay, say less. All right, so what identifies as a broken home?
Now he tried it. So see how he was pressed that he built broken home. Now he knows what a broken home looks like. He knows what a broken home looks like. Right? That's why he couldn't say anything back to that. He was stressed. Right? He was stressed. He was very much stressed.
What you have going on with these, whoever you're not in the house with, is a broken home. It's called a blended family. It's called a blended family.
That means
that the family is blended. So blended.
So blended means broken.
Yeah.
Okay. So the guy that you were entertaining, you would go as low as.
You see, instead of him actually dealing with the conversation, he then had to point. He wants to turn it back onto her because he wants to nail her to the cross right now. He's triggered in this moment, and he doesn't realize he's triggered. And look, we all get this. It happens to all of us. It happens to all of us. But he's triggered. he's very much triggered at this point, and so now he's going to turn it on her because she needs to know that he can't trigger him like that. You get me? 26.
That I would entertain.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
And as high as what age?
Whatever man that doesn't have kids.
Yeah.
But I want to pause it here and say this, right? I want to say this. I will be real with you. He got her here. That'll be in part 3. I'll deal with it. Dr. Bryant, I know that everyone is clapping for her, and they should, because she nailed Nick Cannon and Mr. Cam Newton. What I will say is Cam Newton did get her in this point, right? And I'll do that in part 3. There's Dr. Bryant was making a point about high function, high value, and the fact that she could be high value and date somebody who's high functioning, but not necessarily high value. And he got her good in this part because it was absolute bollocks. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay. All right, sis. We know. Okay. We know. Okay. All right. We know you couldn't do it. Okay, sis, we know you couldn't do it. And he did get her there. And I'll do that in part 3. I'll tap into that a bit more. But he nailed her to the cross in this part. So I'll play a little bit of clip and then I'll be
as high as
whoever doesn't have kids, whatever age he is with no kids.
I just
No, that's the age. I'm saying I don't have an age range as far as how old if he has no kids.
So you're non-negotiable.
Creating who he is, because we could teach what we know, we create who we are. And so broken people create brokenness, whether it's through a child, whether it's through a relationship, whether it's through themselves. It doesn't have to be a beautiful baby, but you're creating brokenness. And broken people can come from married households. I'm not saying that a 2-parent household can't create the result of a child who then has brokenness and creates broken blended families everywhere. I'm not negating that.
That's not my point.
No, I know I'm making that point. But yes.
But my point.
My answer is I not only identify that those homes are houses without a home because he's not in them.
Yeah.
But also that he's a broken man.
But you're going to be with a broken man.
No, I won't. I just said I wouldn't be with a man. I wouldn't be with a broken man who has multiple kids. I would take
No, not multiple. I'm
well,
talking
a kid. It
so
doesn't matter.
you're not going to date a man
You was
with
pressed as
children.
boy.
No, but let me clear this up because you said I won't date a broken man. That's not what I said.
No, I said
he was this part was pressed. I don't understand. This part of the conversation was a little bit was also interesting as well. So I can't lie. I can't lie. He did get her a little bit in this. There's a part where they started talking, and again, I don't want to go too deep into it. So I want to make sure that's focused on the part 3. I want to focus back onto the conversation we're actually having, which is about fear of marriage. I want to go further back, and because this part here was also quite interesting. This conversation here, it was about what he said, which was really interesting for me. Let's play this part.
It's going to run its course.
That's fine. But who cares? Marriage runs its course. Our divorce rate is high.
But listen to the point that I'm trying to make.
Mm-hmm.
As a high valued woman,
mm-hmm.
she's never going to entertain a man that is not also high value. Now,
it's not true.
I will say it like this: even though he has high function to sustain the relationship, that high function will run its course. Is that if that's all you have? So you being who you are, you attract a certain type of man. Me.
Okay. So the point that he was making, the point that he was making here is that he was saying that a high value woman cannot necessarily deal with a low value man, even though he's high function. And I kind of agree with him. I can't lie to you. There are exceptions to the rule, but I do believe that high functioning woman and a high value woman is going to find it very difficult, because in reality, unfortunately, a lot of us do surrender to gender roles. Whether it's because the men can't handle it, or whether it's because women can't handle the power of being the one that's in the lead over the man. Whichever one, doesn't really matter, right? It tends not to work. It tends to run its course. I do understand that, right? And that's another conversation for another day. But it's this part here that started the madness, okay?
Being who I am, I can take anybody and transform them into who I want them to be. A woman cannot do that.
That's not true.
Now let's pause right there. When he said obviously he can take any woman and transform them into anything that he wants them to be, he's not lying. It's just that he has a certain market, right? He's not lying. No, he's not lying. He can take any woman within the scope of his market. And I'll say this again, the women that are not able to have a lot. Let me say this again. If you're easily seduced, right? If you're not going to say easily, that sounds wrong. You have to understand, okay, all right? You have to understand that the type of people that he can transform, all right, are going to be a certain type of person, right? They're going to be a certain type of person. And so whilst he may transform them, I'm going to tell you what he believes he's transforming them to. Because here's the thing. How are you transforming? What does he mean what does he mean by transforming them? What is he transforming them actually into? What is it that he believes that he's transforming them actually into? And I can actually tell you what he believes he's transforming them into, because he actually says it, right? And we'll play a little clip for you as to what he's transforming them into. I didn't think he was trying to play a god, but I felt it was a little bit arrogant. You know what I mean? I can't lie to you. It was a little bit arrogant what he said. But I listened to it again. I said, I understand where he's going, but it just sounds arrogant, and it will sound like a god complex a little bit.
Would come with me submitting.
Yeah, but that's what goes back to the original statement.
Yes.
Will a man really understand true love? Because when you identify those things, it was how can I benefit from the situation? He has high status. I have high status.
Right.
Have a business. It matches that. So to my point, when I'm saying I can make a woman in regards to that, I see way too many times a high value man takes a low functioning woman or a low value woman and increase her status overnight. Now,
pause. That's what he believes a transformation is. That's the problem. This is why you're not going to experience love, because look at the transformation you're talking about. Now, first and foremost, you can't transform anybody. And if you're in the business of talking about I can transform people, when you're talking about in relationships, you got a problem. Now, if you're a coach, I hear it, but you are a partner, dangerous place to be in. Okay, dangerous place to be in. Whenever you can start saying I transform people in relationships, yeah, you a problem. You got a little bit of that savior complex, a little of that God complex, a little bit of that Superman complex. We're gonna need you to let that go. Okay, all right. Now, if you're a coach, that makes sense. But the moment you become a partner, you're not there. You're not transforming anybody. Look, at the end of the day, so when he said obviously transforming, what did he mention was being transformed? Only their status. He didn't talk about their mind. He didn't talk about their heart. He didn't talk about the fact that maybe that person will actually begin to, see the world differently. No. He said that person would transform in their status. And you know what? He ain't wrong. But that's as far as it can go. And see, that's the problem, because I bet that you probably choose women who you believe you can transform them to. I bet you choose people that you believe that you can transform them in other ways too. And the reality of the situation is, when we're choosing people, he's a Bob the Builder. Yeah, he is. He's a Bob the Builder. Can he fix it? Bob the Builder. Yes, he can. Da, 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 da. You are a Bob the Builder, Cam Newton, which is why you're low functioning. Because why are you trying to build women? Why are you trying to transform women? This is why you're afraid of being in marriage, because you're transforming them rather than accepting the women that you're with as they are. Right? Now, these women need you for something. This is why you like them. No. Let's be real now. The reason why you like these women is because they need you for something, which is actually going back to what Dr. Bryant's message was, which is, I'll take some accountability here as well. A couple of months ago, maybe it was last year, we had a conversation about, do men need women? And we did say that, right? But I think in the purpose of kind of being very, very clear, men and women don't need each other. What I mean by that is that when we get into a relationship, we're not getting into a relationship because I need you. I'm getting into a relationship because I want you. And so I think, I know I made a point about need, but I am willing to change my position. I'm changing it. I think qualification by language is very important. I was wrong. We don't need women, and women don't need men. What I really mean by that is, in a relationship format, I should want you, not need you. The moment I need you, we've got a problem. That doesn't mean that there aren't going to be things like, okay, maybe we have to work together to achieve a goal or a purpose. I'm not saying those kind of things, but I'm talking about in terms of relationship. I shouldn't be in a place of needing you, because the moment that I need you, I'm not coming into a place whole. And then that when I'm not coming to a place whole, I'm going to look at you as my savior rather than my partner. And I think that's really important. We don't want to create saviors. We want to create partners. So I don't need you. I want you. And we don't need. And if I'm a person that's self-sufficient too, I also don't want you to need me. That doesn't mean that I wouldn't. That doesn't mean we can't have a dynamic where I pay all the bills. No, it means that whatever we choose to do, it's not because you need me. It's not out of the desperation that you want me. Okay, it's because you actually want me, and your desire is for me, not because it's of a meeting a basic need, like I'm your savior. And that's where Cam is for a lot of women. He's become their savior and he meets their needs, and so he can always feel good about himself because he knows he is a key to a lot of women's lives.
Now, it's still a process. It's still a level of submission from both sides, not just a female side, but also the male side. And also, there's a patience that goes into that to be like, yo.
Wait, hold on. Depending on the negotiation. Because some of that stuff, I'm saying, could move fast because everyone's negotiation process is different. You know what I mean, Cam? Meaning if we come in saying, okay, Cam, this is a strategic dating thing, we both know it, we're going to have this all planned out, we just going to hit these points. Meaning that would come into fruition a lot sooner because we're clear on the plan. Versus if I came in without you knowing my plan. And I'm like, oh, Cam, hey. It may be a little longer process. I agree. But I want, you keep saying the man thing.
Now it's gonna be interesting because I think the next part is gonna be really important, right? Because I think this next part that's spoken about is really important because what he's about to explain is needed. Okay, so so this particular part, when he speaks about obviously men not experiencing or high functioning men not experiencing love, I want to be very, very clear. I want to break this down properly because I need you to understand the reason why I believe that high functioning men, which I don't agree with, doesn't make sense because they're meant to be emotionally intelligent. If you're a high functioning man, it makes no sense as to why you can't receive love. If you're a high functioning man, quote unquote, it's harder for you to be able to receive love, or you don't get the love from women. And here's my thing. I think that's a lie. I think that it's because there's a lack of awareness as to what the high function actually means and entails. And so let's just play a little bit more and I'll explain what I mean by that.
Which I love. That will a man ever really experience true love?
Right.
My answer to that two-part answer: one, I'm not a man,
Right.
and I believe that a woman should stay in her place when it comes to answering men's question from a place of being the source, and instead say my opinion. Just like I think a man also should stay in his place when answering questions about us, because y'all not us, you don't know, but you can say in my opinion, in my experience, or what I think. So I would hope that men could experience real love. However,
now she's going to actually break it down. So you're going to hear her explanation. You're going to break it down. And so you're going to hear the conversation. So here's my thing. A lot of us will complain about people not loving us correctly, not caring about us, mistreating us. You might hear a lot of people say, "Oh, I choose the wrong kind of guys or the wrong kind of girls." That's Cam Newton. Men just use me for sex. Women just use me for money. Right? I can't seem to find the right kind of person. Whenever you look outside for the answer, is the moment you're going to more than likely fail to receive the answer you actually need. The moment you look outside for an answer is the moment you're going to fail finding an answer that you need right now. The answer you're looking for, in most cases, is in relation to the relationship that you have with self. The reason why you keep choosing bad, the reason why you keep choosing bad guys, it's a you problem. The reason why you keep choosing bad women, it's a you problem. The reason why you can't experience love, it's a you problem. The reason why people keep mistreating you, it's a you problem. The reason why people don't consider you, it's a you problem. You have to realize that we are teaching people how to interact with us and how to move with us, right? So let me give you an example. When he's talking about obviously men not experiencing love, do you know why a lot of men don't experience love? Because you don't even love yourself, bro. The reason why you're struggling to experience love from the opposite sex is because you don't love yourself. You think you do, but you don't. You see, whenever you don't know what your wants and your actual needs are, right, you're going to struggle to meet somebody who actually really can actually take in and be able to supply part of your needs and wants. Whenever you are not in tune with your emotions, you're going to find people that are also not in tune with their emotions or become overbearing with their own emotions towards you. Whenever you find yourself in a place where you mistreat or are being mistreated, it's probably because you mistreat yourself, right? And so other people are seeing that and mistreating you. You know why you're not a priority? Because you don't prioritize you, right? And so the reason why you're not experiencing love is because you don't love you. Oh, you wanted to blame the women not knowing how to love men. Nah, don't look at them. Look at you. And same for the women. If they had the same answer applies to them too. But we're talking about Cam Newton today. So him asking a question about men experiencing real love is because you don't love you the way you need to. And we did part one where we spoke about his background. We spoke about where he came from. We spoke about the fact that he comes from a PK family, a pastor's kid. We spoke about the fact that he wished his father did other things, different things in the way that he grew him up. We spoke about the fact that, his dad wasn't necessarily as affectionate the way that he wanted. So he's been affectionate for his kids. So what you're really saying is this: I didn't really experience love in my childhood. I don't know what it really looks like. And so whenever I meet another woman, I can feel that that's not what I actually want, but I don't know how to articulate that. I don't know if that's really is. I just know it doesn't feel right. But how do I put that into words? Oh, I'll just blame the other party. They're the one that are at fault. Men can't actually experience love. No. You don't love you. Don't be pushing that around here. Don't be pushing that right here. You don't love you. And you see, the Bible says that you should love your neighbor as you love yourself. The Bible says, love your neighbor as you love yourself. And the problem is, your neighbor can't love you the way you need to be loved because you don't love you. And she's going to explain it. So let's listen now.
However, I believe that it would take more than a high functionality. It would take more than high valueness. It would take being in love and feeling and experiencing that fully is more about how open and vulnerable we have already allowed ourselves to be with ourselves. Right? So meaning I receive love from you at the level of receptivity I already am when I come and meeting you, whether it's friendship, business, romantic. You can't love me deeper than I love myself. Let me word that better. You can feel the love deeper for me than I love myself. I won't receive it and feel it past the level that I love myself.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's pause it right there. So the answer to his question about will men feel love, she just answered it exquisitely. Mwah. Chef's kiss. Because what she just said there is this: you can't feel it anymore. You can't feel someone else's love any more than you actually love yourself. Because you're not full of love for yourself, you're not going to feel that people love you. This is why when people ask me, can I coach married couples? I say, yeah, you can. Because we're not coaching your marriage. Nobody can coach a marriage. Who can coach a marriage? Even if you're married, can you coach a marriage? You can't coach a marriage because everybody's marriage is different. What I can coach is the individuals within the marriage, because it's a relationship with the other party, but it starts with a relationship with self. A marriage is really a relationship with ourselves, relating to other people. We look at people based on a mirror. You understand what I'm saying to you? We do it based on a mirror. So a marriage is about mirroring. What do you see? So whenever I look at people and I'm coaching, even when I'm coaching my clients, I'm looking at me. If anybody's coached with me, if anybody here has gone on my coaching, I tell you that we're on a journey together. And I tell people, listen, hey, as you're learning, as I'm teaching, I'm learning as I teach you. There are things that when I teach you, I haven't even learned myself. I'm like, I need to learn that. Right? Just because I can give the wisdom doesn't mean I've also attained it. Sometimes through my teaching, I'm actually learning. And then I'm like, I need to apply it to myself. Damn. I didn't even realize I was lacking in that area. Or somebody will tell me their life story and I'll be like, damn, that sounds like mine. Damn, I have the answer for them, but now I got an answer for me too. Damn. You know, so the whole point is that relationships are a mirror. They showcase you. So before you jump and say, they didn't do, are you doing what you're supposed to be doing? They don't love me enough, but do you love you enough? Because had you loved you enough, maybe you'd be able to communicate with them and let them know that they're not loving you enough. Had you loved you enough, maybe you would also then be able to say, actually, let me deep it. Before I shout at them, have I been able to communicate my wants and my needs with them? Right? Have I been able to do that? Oh, before I go off on a gasket and blow it up, why am I really angry? Oh, because they didn't consider me. But why didn't they consider me? Is this something that they always do? Or is this something that I'm always sitting there quiet, waiting to see if they're going to consider me to prove my own theory about how I feel about me? You guys know I always tell you about this as well, that a lot of times we project, I'm one of them. I'm one of the worst. God is still working on me. I need to be better. Okay? I had to be better. Okay? But projection is one of the worst things. Okay? Projection is one of the worst things. And a lot of us do this. And the reason why it's one of the hardest things to do is because what we do is that the Bible says, and I always get that to scripture, I think it's Numbers 11, I think it is. Right? And let me see if I can get it up so I can read it, because I always feel like it's important to read that scripture. Is it Numbers 11? Or is it Numbers 13? Let me see. Spies. Okay, yeah. I'm going to read from Numbers 13 really, really quickly from verse from verse 25. And in fact, let me put it on the screen for you guys so you guys can see it, and we'll end on this part as well, and then we'll do part 3 another day as well, okay? Because we're going to break it all the way down, baby. We're going to break it all the way down. Okay, so Numbers 13. Okay. Numbers 13. Let's share this tab. Okay, cool. So you can see my tab. All right. Numbers 13. It says here they came back to Moses and Aaron, the whole Israelite community at Kadesh in the desert of Paran. There they reported to them and the whole assembly and showed them the fruit of the land. They gave Moses this account. We went into the land to which you sent us, and it does flow with milk and honey. Here it is its fruit. But the people who live there are powerful, and the cities are fortified and very large. We even saw descendants of Anak there. The Amalekites live in Negev, the Hivites, the Jebusites, the Amorites live in the hill country, and the Canaanites live near the sea along the Jordan. Then Caleb silenced the people. Hush, shh, you talk too much. Caleb said, listen, shh, before the people and before Moses, and said, we should go up and take possession of the land, for we can certainly do it. But the men who had gone up with him said, we can't attack those people. They are stronger than we are. And they spread among the Israelites a bad report about the land they explored. And they had said, the land we explored devours those living in it. All the people we saw there are of great size. We saw the Nephilim there, and the descendants of Anak came from the Nephilim. We seemed like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and we looked the same to them. This is called projection. That last line is called projection. And many people do it in their marriages. They project in marriage, in relationships, and friendships. We project because it says we seemed like grasshoppers in our own eyes. So what ends up happening is we feel like if I look like a grasshopper in my own eyes, you must see me as a grasshopper. And the fear that we have is that your thought process or your behavior will confirm the belief that I have about me in me already. That's what many people are. Many people are trying to prove their theory about how unlovable, how uncaring, how unkind, how everybody else is. And so what they do is project because they already have that thought process about themselves. And so they're trying to prove the negative, not the positive. So when Cam says, can men receive that love? Can men, even high function men, even get that love? Why is that his question is that? Because there's already a negative thought process already existing within his mind. He's already going to find ways to prove the negative theory that men who are high functioning don't receive love from women. When in reality, what he really needs to look at is why are you projecting your thought process onto them? And not to say, actually, maybe I need to look at me internally and see, is there something I'm doing that puts me in a place of people potentially who are not willing to give me the love that I actually need? Do I even know what I need to be loved? Maybe I don't even know how I want to be loved. Maybe I don't even know what will make me feel loved. So we're going to leave it there. Okay. That was part 2. Okay. That was part 2. We're going to part 3. We'll discuss a bit more. And so I think this is important, right? Love, everybody can receive this love. Okay. Everybody can receive love, but first and foremost, you must work with the inner child within you. Okay. You must work within you and look within you because you have the answer. And so before you start to complain about the outer and everybody else, I want you to understand, first and foremost, look within you. What is it that you are needing? And are you in the best place to receive that? Are you even aware of what you need as well, right? Do you supply what you need? Okay, you can only be feeling the love as much as you love you. So, I will leave it there. Shout out to Abe. She says, Cam thinks he knows best and lacks wisdom. Yeah. Absolutely. And just to let you guys know, I have got a few spots left in my coaching. I'm going to close my coaching books I think tomorrow. Yeah. So I won't take any more new clients on, but I do have emergency coaching spots. So if you are somebody who is wanting some coaching, I've only got emergency spots open left. Now, how much are we charging? Is £100. I can't lie to you. Yeah. It's well worth £100. But because like I said, obviously I wanted to make it as easy for everybody as possible. That was the normal spots, but I'm going to let you know the emergency spots. It's a queue jump. You can jump ahead of the queue, but it will cost you. And trust me, it's worth it. Okay. So if you are looking for coaching, you need someone to coach you through a lot of things you're going through, some of the things we've spoken about, then this is the place to jump into. There's a link down below in the description box. Jump on that as well. And then obviously, as our good sister in the chat said, we have our 100 club as well. We'll discuss a bit more about this actually. So that's next week. So if you are wanting to be a part of that, you want to talk about relationships, conversations, and stuff like that, then join us at the 100 Club. This at the 100 Club this week. All right. So we have it next week, next Thursday. Okay. All right, the 100 Club, and we'll love to see you guys there. We discuss relationships and all that kind of stuff, offline. So if you want to join in that, my friends, go and sign up. The link is in the description box as well. We'd love to see you guys there next week. We'll have a good time. Last one was good. The last one we had was powerful. So make sure you go and sign up for that as well. You know what I mean? Someone said Kojo a stripper. I hear it. But yeah, listen, we'll love to see you guys next week and be in there for the conversations as well. Okay, so join the 100 Club. You know what I mean? If you can't afford a coaching, you might as well get into the 100 Club. You know what I mean? Yeah, don't miss that. All right, don't miss that. Shout out to CXM who joined back onto the YouTube member. We appreciate you as well. Much love and appreciation. We're gonna leave you guys here with something, because as always, I like to let you guys know we are running a competition. I'm a part of a competition to bless somebody who wants to go to Ghana. Listen, you guys talk to me about going to Ghana every year, and I ain't doing no vlog. Okay, I ain't doing no vlog. So why should I do it when you can actually get yourself to win a free ticket to Ghana? Okay, all right. Why not? Okay, so I'm gonna leave you with this lovely video, and then we're gonna bounce tonight. Okay, we appreciate you guys. Stay locked, stay loaded, and make sure you apply for the game. Okay.
Hi everyone, I'm Amir Uni, your sales and marketing associate here at Ito. I'm thrilled to announce an exciting opportunity for our food lovers and adventure seekers out there. We at Ito are giving you the chance to win a trip to Accra for as little as $6. Imagine exploring our bustling street, vibrant markets, and our local landmarks that inspired our founding team to build Ito.
You'll get to experience the rich history and culture of Ghana, the first African country to gain independence.
But that's not all. The lucky winner could join us for Dirty December if they choose to redeem their winnings in December 2024. This month-long celebration is filled with vibrant nightlife, festive activities, and unforgettable moments. Picture yourself dancing and celebrating amongst the festive activities in Accra, soaking up and enjoying what it means to have a nightlife in Accra, Ghana.
And of course, as a food enthusiast, you'll get to indulge in the ultimate African food experience alongside our co-founder, Margaret Deborah. From mouth-watering dishes prepared with authentic ingredients to exploring local food stalls, your taste buds are in for a treat.
Entering the competition is simple. First, purchase a single ticket or bundle tickets. Second, share this competition with your friends and family to spread the word. And lastly, follow us on all social media to get more updates or chances on how to win.